Mike Corey and I first started broadcasting together at UMass Amherst, and he has since gone on to become a play-by-play broadcaster doing football, basketball, lacrosse, and the Olympics for NBC, and he joins us on Pushing the Odds. Mr. Corey, how are you, my friend?
What is up, man? Doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to hear your voice. Appreciate you coming on. All right, so for a guy who's used to be going all over the country doing play-by-play games and going to different, basketball gyms and football stadiums and lacrosse venues, what's it like to be home? You've been home quite a bit these past couple of months, as we all have been here during quarantine.
I know, it's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Before all this, I was always like, I could use more time. I mean, who couldn't use more time, right? And I wanted to do so many things, and you say stuff, and you never think it would be true. And I was sleeping well, I wasn't getting up. I was trying to, I was all over the place, and I'm like, I'll never have a consistent schedule. I'm like saying to myself, like, I'll never be able to do this and get a pattern down. And then lo and behold, obviously with everything going on, so I've been kind of fortunate in a way, to be able to just develop some better habits and just try to make the most of all this time, because it was harder, when you're running around, you don't get a chance to reevaluate and kind of fix things and do things better. And, I feel like I've gotten a chance to do that. So it's worked out pretty good, at least for me. Thank God.
You get your schedule far in advance. You know where you're supposed to be. You know what games you were going to be calling and what venue you were going to be sent to. Was there any game on your schedule that you had circled that you were really bummed out about not being able to broadcast?
Probably like as we got toward the end of the season, yeah. I mean, we had I was at the American Athletic Conference tournament in Fort Worth, Texas. It's a brand new arena called Dickies Arena, and I was just really excited to kind of do that tournament and part of it, and see what that was going to be like. And then that's when everything kind of went down. And then after that, probably was going to do some NIT, for ESPN since the rest of the tournament's on CBS and all that. And I was like, yeah, this would be great. I've done the NIT a couple of years in a row. It's usually some pretty good ratings, some good games, and then, all that was done as well. So that's about it. I mean, lacrosse season, I do that in the spring. So I didn't really get much of a schedule with that, but that all, of course, is done too. But, nothing crazy. And that's pretty much what it was.
You were going to be, or you had in the past, you had done broadcasting for the Olympics. I think we forget, now that we get in the summertime months, how odd is it going to be that we don't have the Olympic Games coming up, and we'll have it in 2021, but we won't have it this coming summer?
I know. It's like, it probably would be odd if everything was kind of normal per se, and then, where's the Olympics? But, I mean, everything's so messed up, as we all know, and I don't think, even this summer, things are going to be, figured out too much until, the fall and then the vaccine and all that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just kind of like everything else. I mean, I'm definitely missing it, and I feel bad. I mean, I'm sure it's going to go fine, hopefully next year. I know everybody's got their opinions. It's like, everybody just calm down, let's get through the summer, the fall of 2020 before you start telling me about events that potentially might not go in 2021. I think it's going to be fine for next summer, but it's like, it is a little weird, but there's nothing going on. So I think as long as we can just start to get some things back, it'll start to feel a little bit better,
Yeah, so talking to Mike Corey, as a broadcaster, Mike, you guys tend to be told last, right, as to what's going on. But what's your feeling, just your own opinion, about what may happen for college football coming up this fall? Are you preparing as if you guys are going to be on the road?
Yeah, well, no, we are. We've had a couple talks with some of our executives at the network, and I'm talking to my boss next week and with my partner, and we're just kind of trying to figure out, okay, we think that the games are going to go. I mean, I really think they're going to start. I mean, I just don't think there's going to be any fans, and I think that's going to be kind of the last thing to get back to normal is the fans, and, what do they got to do to be able to get in there? I don't think there's going to be nobody. I mean, they'll probably have friends and family, and they'll figure it out, and they'll spread them out. I mean, it's going to look a lot different if you're an SEC school, and you're expecting 100,000 people. But on some of the other places, I mean, geez, you could probably, get a decent amount of people in there. But I mean, I think the games are going to go. I think they gotta get it going. I mean, I think we all see the NHL and Major League Baseball and NBA trying to come up with their plans of attack to get restarted. So if they do that, I really think by the fall we're going to have some college football. Now, that was the other thing they said about the travel. They're like, well, we got to be comfortable putting blank and blank on a plane to wherever. And And I'm thinking by that point, yeah, like, we talk now at the end of May, like everything's so, I don't know. 2 weeks later, we get some new information,
right.
and we're all thinking different, right?
Right?
Hey, July comes, I'm sure we'll be like, hey, you know what, we can do this. We'll put the mask on. We'll follow the guidelines. We're going to be okay. August is going to be better. That's why I'm saying come September, yeah, I'm going to be on a plane. I'm going to probably be going to do some games. They're going to happen. I just don't feel like the fans, that's going to trickle back, as time goes on.
Yeah, unless you're in Texas with pro sports, because the governor announced today that 25% can happen today, or June 1st, on Monday. You can have fans and stands for pro sporting events in Texas. So that's going to be the patchwork quilt that I think we'll all deal with this fall, as well as to what states are going to allow fans in for college and pro sports. But Mike, so in this segment we do, it's called the Perrault Vault. So we dive back into where I was and where I've been broadcasting, people I've come across. You were at the very beginning of my broadcasting career back at UMass when Mike Reitz, who now at ESPN Boston, was our sports director, and then you and I took over becoming sports directors at UMass. My question to you: do you have one memory from college? It doesn't include me, but what was your experience like at UMass as a college broadcaster? How would you characterize it?
Oh man, that's yeah. I knew we were going to be talking about this, so I don't know. It's like it was. Just the freshman year to me was like was the most fun because of the Final Four and Marcus Camby and John Calipari and just getting to college and the dorms and everything, and then we started getting involved in the radio, and I remember it was like a little hierarchy. Like you used to do stats, and then you had to produce. You had to be in the studio, then you got to do stats, and then you got to do color, and then you got to do play-by-play, and like I got to do stats for like the UMass George Washington game, and that was their only loss they had all regular season, until the tournament. And it was like, that was fun. And then I was a freshman, and I'm writing for the Collegian, the Daily Collegian, our student newspaper, and the radio station, and I got to go down with 4 seniors to Philadelphia for the Atlantic 10 tournament. And I'm like, this is awesome. But, I'm obviously, like, young. I'm only, like, 18 years old, and everybody else is over age. So they're like, well, you're going to have to get a fake ID. And I'm like, you're right, I got to get a fake ID. Like, because I got to be able to go hang out with these guys in Philadelphia. I can't be the one that, like, can't get into the bar and stuff, So I ended up getting a fake ID. It was crazy, I got to go in. We were partying downtown Philly, whatever. I mean, it was just, went to the steak places. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I never forget that trip, So, and then, of course, UMass won the A-10 tournament, and then, Final Four. I mean, it was that was just probably one of my favorite years, 95, 96, that I've ever had.
So you and I both share, over the years, we've laughed about this off the air. We can laugh about it on the air a little bit, but we both chose to go to UMass. And so many of the people that we've worked with, worked against, been up against for jobs, went to Syracuse. Do you still, because you're an ESPN guy now, so you got to have all these Syracuse people. Do you still harbor that little fire for all the Syracuse broadcast graduates to come out and get their little network going to get jobs?
Yeah, I'm more of like, I want to get our network going. I want to get the UMass network. I mean, we got, there's you, there's me. I mean, you just talked about Mike Reese. Mark Bertrand does college, he does sports talk in Boston. We got, guys like, everybody's eluding me now, but I mean, there's a ton of people out there that, Dan Wetzel, sports writer. I mean, there's a lot of great people that, have come from UMass. And I think, on the radio, on TV, writers, and I just want to build up our network. I'm a little partial to UMass, as I know you are too. It's like the Syracuse to me is like, hey, that's great and it's awesome, but why do they get? Honestly, the pipeline is literally, oh, he's the next guy from Syracuse, so now he's on ESPN. Like, oh, how does this happen here? Like,
right.
What about UMass? That's kind of what I want to start to develop a little bit better. Just because, and we got a lot of talented people, and we gain just as much experience, if not more, at our place, and it's just as, special, I think. So, but yeah, it is kind of crazy because every time I turn around, I'm like, who's this guy? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Sure. Yep. Syracuse. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I don't try to make it a problem. I don't want to get in trouble with anybody, but
No, I mean, but when you have Bob Costas and Mike Tirico, when you've got guys who are at the top of the broadcasting, pecking order, when those guys are the ones that are your graduates, and then they go back and they build wings and they do, they donate millions of dollars back to the university. That's what ends up happening, and that's what ends up we need to get to a point where we can do that, Mike. We need to be at a point where we can donate back to our school.
Right, and then I just tell the network, say, here's Bobby, he's out of UMass, you're hiring him, and we're all good,
Right, exactly, right, yeah, there you go, here we are. All right, well, listen, my friend, let me end it with this. In terms of what you're looking forward to, what do you hope to get, what's the one thing where you're going to feel like, okay, we're back, if you get to do it coming up this fall?
The one thing we're back, well, the NFL, I mean, it's like,
right.
Yeah, like when the NFL gets back, right? I mean, I hope that goes off, without a hitch. And but crazy, man. You're right there with the brand new stadium about to develop. What about LA?
Yeah.
I'm like thinking to myself, geez, it's going to start. It's not going to be the start that everybody kind of wanted, But I mean, I don't know. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I really, we all love the NFL. I think when that gets going, that kind of just everything else will fall into place a little bit, So
I'm looking forward to you and Renee doing your pregame videos, walking around those towns. Do you guys do those college towns, those little videos you guys do with the best eats around the college market? When you guys are back doing that, that's how I'm going to say Mike Corey is back. When you guys are back out there getting able to do those fun things you do in college towns that you guys do every week, Mike.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get back out there and see you. I know we had a game out there in Vegas a couple years ago, so I'm looking forward to that.
Let's do it. Mike, I appreciate the time, my friend. We'll catch up down the line, all right?
You got it, buddy. Take care. All the best.
That is Mike Corey, public play broadcaster for ESPN and NBC, good friend of mine, at Mike Corey Sports on Twitter.